Season 18 of competitive play in Overwatch is going to be unlike any season before. The introduction of role queue means that for everyone who has been absent from the ladder for a while, you should get ready for a vastly different experience. Scott Mercer, Overwatch developer at Blizzard Entertainment, recently published a forum post explaining some of the behind-the-scenes adjustments that are being made, and as such, I feel like you should really know about them. So let's not waste any more time on the intro and get right into it. In an attempt to make this video informative for players who took a break from the game, let me give you a quick summary of what you can expect. Starting from Season 18, Overwatch is going to work under the role queue system. You pick a role, you queue up for it, and you can only play characters within the role you have chosen. You have to play 5 placement matches for every role, and you will get a separate skill rating for each of them, as well as a combined rating that you can look at for funsies. That means that your performance while playing tanks will be completely unaffected from your performance while playing support or DPS. But how does that work? If you have been playing Overwatch within the last couple months, then Blizzard has already been tracking data on your performance to assist the placement process. And that gets even easier if you have been participating in the role queue beta that has taken place between the end of Season 17 and the beginning of Season 18. The more Overwatch you have been playing the past few months, the more data the game has on your performance, and as such, the more confident it is going to be in placing you accurately. Even if you get lucky win streaks or unlucky losing streaks, you will not see massive adjustments in your SR. If you have not played within the last few months, but you have played competitive play before, your last known data is going to be used as a reference point. You might see mildly swaying adjustments in your SR, as in you will gain and lose a bit more depending on how you play, but generally speaking, it's not a big deal. If you are on a fresh account and you have never played competitive, then the game is going to give you a starting point that is likely somewhere in the middle, and then very harshly adjust your SR depending on how well you're playing. For a certain number of matches, you're going to see a huge adjustment in skill rating for every win and every loss you get. But for every single one of these cases, the same thing applies. The more matches you play, the more your SR gains and losses are going to normalize, and the more likely you are to end up in the rating that you belong into. If you want to read up on all the details yourself, I will be leaving a link in the description below for you to check out the forum posts I referenced earlier. Now, this is the really interesting part for all of you active players out there. Scott Mercer has confirmed that the data they collected during the beta season is not going to be thrown out. It will in fact be used to aid the system in placing you accurately for the upcoming Season 18. The only thing that is not going to persist is the role queue beta tab in your career profile. So the evidence is gone, but if you ended up treating it like an off-season, the crime has still been committed. This might piss some of you off because since they called it a beta season, we assumed that the data was not going to persist. But I guess that's the difference between live and PTR. Anything we do on live is ultimately part of our permanent progression. Either way, they've also made a statement addressing the massive increase in queue time for DPS players. Below GM and Masters, queue times average out at about 3 to 6 minutes, though for higher ranked players, they quote 20 to 30 minutes, and many streamers report queue times upwards of an hour. That's a problem, and they addressed it as such. They stated they are going to tweak the system to try and combat that issue, likely meaning they will increase the SR range within which you can queue. For the time being, a temporary solution to ease the effects of this problem will be queuing with a friend who plays either tank or support. Not an ideal solution, but that's all we can do until the changes go into effect. Fact of the matter is that the population of high-ranked players is very small, and DPS heroes are very popular. So that is simply a natural consequence that followed the introduction of role queue. I mean, I get it. If I want to sit in queue all day, I'll go play classic World of Warcraft. You thought 60-minute queues were bad? Try 200. And then you finally beat the queue, get in the game, and find yourself queuing again to complete the quest objective. It's absolutely wild, and I love it. But obviously, Classic WoW is Classic WoW and Overwatch is Overwatch. Just know that they see the problem and they try to fix it. But finding a balance between I want short queue times and I don't want to see Masters players in my games is really difficult. The last thing I want to talk about is the whole discussion surrounding the idea that players are being seated way too high on their off roles. A little while ago, I sat down with Metro in a podcast format to talk about that very problem. And one of my speculations on why that happens has been confirmed by Blizzard. There are 2 different systems at play here. One that tries to address the issue of players who will literally never play any role except for one, and the other one that tries to address players that only flex very rarely. High-ranked players who only flex occasionally across the board have displayed very decent statistics whenever they did end up playing on an off role. The data is not plentiful, but whatever data is there has been suggesting that this will be their performance, and as such they end up placing very high, even though they rarely ever play that role and end up underperforming. For players who never flex but now decided to do their placements for every role role, the developers reference datasets from players who do flex. Essentially, they are looking at it like, how does a 4200 DPS player usually perform on a tank? And they multiplied that question for every single role. Using that reference material, they try to place you where they believe you are going to place when you start flexing as a very high ranked, for all intents and purposes, one trick. Just remember that we are in a massive adjustment period. We are very quick to throw blame around and say that somebody is bad, but we are not only in the middle of a big meta shift, but also a shift in the way we fundamentally play Overwatch. Try to give it a few weeks, maybe a couple months, and then the system should feel much better. Again, the best way to help this along is by playing ranked as much as possible to feed the system as much data as possible. And that's pretty much it. Those are all the big important things that I believe you should know about Season 18. If I ended up skipping something you deem very important, please do let me know by leaving a comment down below. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you guys next time. Also, you can find me on twitch.tv playing classic WoW. Subtle plug at the end. Anyway, have a fantastic day everyone, and good luck in Season 18.